What you? I know the pregame the story was not making the All-Star starters. I think you were tied with Dame, but the fan voting was the tiebreaker. What was your reaction to that?
Congrats to Damian Lillard.
The media voted you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, Dame is deserving. So.
Everyone thought the Knicks are crazy for giving Brunson $100 million. I think he's underpaid with the money he got, but everyone was thinking like, no, that's too much money. No, he definitely proved his worth, and like we said earlier, he's made Julius Randle better just by taking some of the pressure off him.
He made the New York Knicks relevant for the first time since Patrick Ewing.
Brunson will bone your ass right now.
Welcome back to NBA Cinema. So today we have to talk about Gilbert Arenas and whatever it is he has towards Jalen Brunson. I've just been kind of sitting back watching on his show talking about the Knicks and everything, and they have some really good conversations on there, but I really disagree with his take on Jalen Brunson as far as him not being a star, the city not being behind Jalen Brunson. Have you seen the New York Knicks, traveling lately and calling him MVP on the road around the NBA, up and down the East Coast? They went into Brooklyn, MVP chance. And that's understandable, but they went down to Charlotte, MVP chance. So Jalen Brunson, put it like this: if they were to get rid of Jalen Brunson right now, as Gilbert suggests, the city would not be happy, no matter who they got in return at this point. You have to remember it. I believe Jalen Brunson is on a 4-year, $110 million contract. Nobody in the NBA is worth trading, Jalen Brunson for with that contract. He's outperforming that contract so much that, with the flexibility that they have, with him being on that deal right now, they can bring in a lot of pieces. Obviously, after he makes this All-Star team, should be first, second, or third All-NBA team, but he continues to get snubbed, so that's not a foregone conclusion. But if he does make one of those 3 All-NBA teams, he'll be eligible for the Supermax, which I hope, man, because there's been no point guard in the NBA playing better. People like Trae Young that he loves so much, they're not as good as Jalen Brunson. Dame's not as good as Jalen Brunson. Stephen A. loves Donovan Mitchell, who's a 2-guard, not as good as Jalen Brunson. So we have to cut this stuff out, at this point. We're going to listen to what has been said, and we're going to look at what might be his motivation, an interview with Trae Young. So these things, a lot of times, these ranking systems with people is personal. So we're going to look at all this.
All-star starters were announced last week. Steph Curry and Jalen Brunson, 2 of the biggest snubs. We got the...
Wait, what?
What?
The fuck did you just say?
Steph
I heard the first one.
Steph Curry and Jalen Brunson.
Despite
your feeling about Knicks fans...
For not starting, right?
Despite your feelings about Knicks fans...
I'm going to give me a piece of candy.
Get 2. Because despite your feelings about Knicks fans, Jalen Brunson's been balling this year.
Welcome to Gil's Arena.
This is Gil's Arena presented by Underdog.
Jalen Brunson's been balling.
So we got the...
Give me one, please.
The East and West starters.
This one?
Yep, whatever it is.
Gil has walked out of the arena, presented by Underdog Fantasy. All right, switch it back to Lexi, now switch it back to Gil.
Thanks.
Damn, I'm talking about heat.
Wow.
Gil, your personal opinions.
It ain't no personal opinion.
What is it?
Starting in the All-Star game, fan voting. How he get snubbed?
Because it's not just fan voting.
How he get snubbed from fan voting?
50% fan vote, 25% media, 25% player.
Okay, he didn't even get the 50% of the fan vote.
Finished 5th, I believe, in fan voting.
Yeah.
Much more
I don't give a fuck what you do after that.
Much more support on the player media side. It is way to go. I do not make the rules. I just...
So he was 5th. Before anybody else got involved, you were 5th.
Fan vote.
So I don't give a fuck what the other 2 entities do.
It don't matter.
5.
It don't matter. It don't matter at that point.
What they do after that,
it don't matter at that point.
So
Kevin Durant going to the Knicks.
No.
Why?
No one wants to play for the Knicks.
Sounds like he does.
He's a West Coast kid. He'd rather come home. Not come home, but he'd rather come to the West and stay in the West where the weather's nice. Nice weather.
Okay, so you see in 2019, that interview with Kristen Leahy, he said nobody wants to play for the Knicks, right? So he suggested all these stars want to go or should go be in Madison Square Garden. But just in 2019, the dude said nobody wants to come there. Let's continue.
When the numbers come out of who spent the most money,
New York Knicks.
you and the Lakers, you Lakers, Boston, 1, 2, 3, 4 in a sense, right? You top 4 every year. One has 18 championships, the other has 18 championships. Your ass sitting there with nothing. But you're spending championship money. So that means whoever is at the grocery store looking for items don't know what the fuck they're looking at. So they need to find, they need to revamp all y'all for the last 18 years that's been in here, get the fuck out of here, right? And I need to bring in people who actually understand. They have a horrible research team on what talent is because they should have had stars.
Yep.
New York needs one first. They should be looking for a star. Period. I don't give a fuck who I gotta give up. I want a star. I want a Jalen Green, Edwards, right? I want a superstar named first, and then I'm gonna build my team. Right, so what my thing is, this team you have, let it go, right?
Yeah, no.
This is how good that Jalen Green is.
Yes.
You give them Randle and Brunson right now, I guarantee they turn you down. Because he's future, right? Once you get future, you build on it. He's 21, 22 years old. So you, was it Paulo Banchero?
Paul the Banker.
He averaged 20. Jalen Green averaged 22 at the same age.
So, okay, you heard that. Now, this next take by Gilbert Arenas is going to tell you, quote unquote, why the Knicks' fortunes changed over the year. They did not select this particular player, and this has been the reason that the Knicks have not been anything for a long time.
They have one of the biggest guards that that New York has produced, right? In the draft. He's coming up by the name of Rafer Alston. He is a demigod for New York basketball. You have a chance to pick him, and you don't, and he goes the very next pick.
Skip to my Lou, ladies and gentlemen.
You have skipped to my fucking Lou in your back pocket. Right here, second round pick. You're telling me that just for the city itself, you hiring your friends, someone who's you don't think all those people would have ran to the arena. He was the biggest thing moving in New York. During and one mixed, I don't know nothing.
Yeah, no, so
Okay, so for that take, all I have to say is wow, and he ended it with, I don't know nothing. And this is the perfect example, right, that guys that play the game, they do have some insight. They're able to tell you some things that the outsider can't. You know, they know how to prepare their bodies, play at the highest level themselves. But when it comes to building a basketball team, that's why sometimes some of the people that did not play at the highest level or weren't the best players when they were at the highest level are able to do it better because they know how to put a basketball team together. And judging by these conversations, I would not, absolutely would not want Gilbert Arenas putting a team together for me. But that's just my opinion.
Yeah, you know what's crazy about that New York series, man? If that was any other player, if Luka did that to New York Knicks, they would be a god.
I know.
And it is the craziest shit that it is crazy how you went into the Garden and really fucked them up. The Garden itself. And the fact that it's like, it's Trae. And like, wait. If this was any other player on the planet went into the Garden and owned the Garden, it seemed like all of, because you know most of the media is New York.
Yeah.
Right? It seems like they just they personally took offense to what you did in the Garden.
Yeah, I've seen, yeah.
like good basketball just didn't I don't like. It's like they just said it like, I don't like this.
Yeah.
Nah, he just made us look bad.
Yeah, they come up with another excuse. Like it's always some type of excuse. So
Like you supposed to go down as the man who just destroyed the Garden. Like you destroyed the Garden. Like we've had great games at the Garden, but nobody destroyed the Garden.
One of the reasons I think Jalen Brunson gets overlooked is because he doesn't have too many antics. I mean, he does the thing where he makes the threes and he puts his hand over his mouth and his nose. But as far as like his answers and the way he treats media and everything, it's a very business-like approach. And for whatever reason, he's become the guy. He's been the target of fake Knicks fans like Stephen A. Smith. Only person defending him in the media the way that he should be defended is Kendrick Perkins. And KG starting to do it too. KG really loves Jalen Brunson, as a player too. But Kendrick Perkins, he messing around. Like he loves Jalen Brunson's game, and he got it already. Jalen Brunson, I'm telling you, he's been the best point guard in the NBA. I don't include Steph with the PGs in the sense that I'm talking about right now. I'm talking about the play it in the traditional way, like CP3 and those guys. Jalen Brunson's doing some things I ain't seen in a long time, man, as far as a point guard. That footwork, being able to go where you want to go and not being the fastest player on the court, but going where you want to go with pace, dictating the pace of the game, having the control of the game in the palm of your hands. That's been him. That's been him completely. And honestly, if Brunson was there when the Hawks beat the Knicks, it wouldn't have went like that. This is what I'm telling Gilbert Arenas. If Trae Young had pushed back from Jalen Brunson is winning that series. You do understand that, right? Jalen Brunson is that guy. His fundamental skill base is so good. His floor, even when he shoots bad, he can take over late in games and he can get you paint points. It's not so dependent on if the refs call fouls for me all the time. Whereas, a lot of the point guards in the NBA, and I ain't just talking about Trae, but a lot of them, not that they seek contact, but they jump back into defenders and all types of stuff. And the rules are so jacked up and made for scoring that these guys, they have big offensive outputs because of that sometimes. Not saying they aren't very skilled, but they look for loopholes in the rules. And, Jalen Brunson, he can finish through contact. Best contact scoring point guard possibly that we have right now. I don't know if people consider Shai Gilgeous a straight-up point guard or a combo, but we could, for the sake of argument, we could say he's a point guard too. So Shai can finish really well. Nobody probably finishing better than Shai. He's an efficient offensive player. But you look at Jalen Brunson, what he can do finishing through contact, using his shoulders to create separation, finding angles against much bigger players, not jumping out the gym, none of that. Not tall, like Shai or none of that. Just straight up skill, pace, while getting everybody else involved. The Knicks have their star, and they're happy with Jalen Brunson. Now, could they bring in another player? Absolutely. But I'm at the point now with the identity they've built since adding OG Anunoby. Any player that the New York Knicks brings in has to fit the identity of the team. They have to fit the identity. They have a defensive. They built on defense right now. So any star that comes in, quote unquote, if you're gonna go that route to get one maximum contract player, they have to be willing to do the things that the Knicks have built their identity on here lately. That's what I have to say. But man, let me know what you think in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Till next time.